It's time for Money for Lunch, where we feed your brain and your business with supersized portions of business and financial news. Now your host, Bert Martinez.
Hey guys, welcome back to Money for Lunch. Today's show, I'm excited to have one of our regular contributors, attorney Norm Blumenthal. He's on the show, going to be talking about some of this chaos that's happening out on the streets there in Washington, D.C. and affecting our country. I cannot wait to bring on my first contributor, my first guest, my good friend Norm Blumenthal. Norm Blumenthal, welcome back to Money for Lunch.
Thanks, Bert. Nice to hear you, and I want everybody out there to ignore the noise and follow the money on this shutdown, because this is all about money. This country is about money, and this show's about money. This is a battle between labor and capital. Laborers, like all the working stiffs out there, are the ones that are doing the work. The capitalists are the ones that own the stock in the company and make the money as the share price rises. The battle is between labor and capital. Capital wants to keep labor costs down and profits up. That's their job. Now, the laborer, if we all stick together and join together, we can get labor and wages prices up, and the share price eventually will go up anyway, but in the interim, the labor is going to make a living wage. This idea about Obamacare, just let's clear the noise away. This is all has to do with that battle and labor. As I told you in the beginning, and I always tell workers of America, unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains. And one of the chains.
Let's talk about this real quick. So let's focus on this. I want to know what your take is. Why are the Republicans are so against the, quote, Affordable Health Care Act or Obamacare? What's their problem?
Follow the money. In order to keep you chained to your job, one of the tools that they've used over the last 50 years was your health insurance, so they could give you lower wages and less pay, because your fear was that if they let you go, you wouldn't have health care. That's what it's all about. They want to keep you chained to your job. This idea of the health care exchanges is a perfect example of why that works. Let me give you an example on how good it's going to be for everybody, and why everybody out there, if you're working stiff, you got to be felony stupid to vote for a Republican, because they're just stooges of capital. They're not pro-labor. Let me explain to you with an example in California. 20 years ago or so in California, the invincibles of the driving ages, they didn't buy car insurance because there was no law requiring them to own car insurance. So they'd run around figuring they never got in an accident. They get in an accident, and the government would be stuck with their health care to get them better, and no one that they injured would be able to collect except for uninsured motorists. And all us that had car insurance, all our premiums went up. Well, in California, they passed a law and said everybody who drives a car in California is required to have auto insurance. And all those invincibles that thought they were never going to get into an accident, all were required to have car insurance. And guess what's happened? Car insurance in California for everybody has gone down. And why has it gone down? Because everybody's got skin in the game, and everybody's paying a piece of the premium that covers the cost for those that are getting in an accident. It's the same thing with health insurance. The reason we're going to have health insurance rates are going to eventually go down is because everybody's going to have skin in the game. Everybody's going to be required to have it. And guess what? The employers are not going to have control over you, because you can move your health insurance to the exchanges and you won't be required to keep your job to have health insurance. That's what it's all about. And everybody's got to get smart out there. This is the beginning of the 2014 election. And what you got to be thinking about now is to vote these Republicans out of office that are trying to hold our government hostage by insurance. This is their only hope. This is an act of desperation in Washington because they can't win doing it the way it's supposed to be done to pass laws. So they're holding the entire government hostage. That's how much power capital has over the Republican Party. The Republican Party, they're all effectively just stooges for capital and stooges for making the stock price go up.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and first of all, I think that most politicians are absolute stooges for capital, and I think that, first of all, I agree with what you're saying, that this whole thing about the government shutdown and Obamacare is only about money, and the people who are against it think that they're going to lose, and the people who are for it, I think, are going to gain. And I like your take on it. I like the fact that, as an employee, we are no longer going to be afraid of whether or not we have health care. And to a lot of people, man, that's a huge relief. But let me ask you this, though. Norm, what's your take? There are some people who are saying, hey, since this Obamacare has come into effect, my premiums have gone up, 30 or 40%. Do you think those premiums will come back down as things tend to equalize a little bit?
That's just more nonsense because that's where in places where they don't have exchanges. If you look at, because 26 states where the Republicans control it, they won't let you be in an exchange. So, of course, it's going to go up because there's less people competing for the insurance dollars. In California, it's going down. In California, one of their complaints is, I got a $5,000 deductible. I have to pay $100 a month for the Invincibles now, 26 to 50-year-olds. You know something? Before, you paid nothing, and I paid for your insurance. So sure, it's gone from $0 to $100 a month, but that's nothing. And the $5,000, they try to put that into the equation. That's nothing. If you, God forbid, you get sick, and you're going to have millions of dollars in potential for cancer cure. Well, guess what? You're going to be in the system as opposed to being on the street and dying. So this is big-time stuff, and the focus is, Bert, is keep an eye on the ball. This is just stuff for capital. This is a war in an adversary system. It's a legal war. It's not a shooting war. This is a war between capital and labor, because if they can hold the government hostage for Obamacare, then they'll hold it hostage for the minimum wage, and then they'll hold it hostage for Medicare, and then they'll hold it hostage for Social Security, so that there is nothing you can do but work for lower wages and continue to work for the rest of your life, because they're going to take away all the government programs that our fathers and grandfathers fought for to allow us to live with a living wage and with government protection if it's not there anymore. And that's what it's all about, because capital has no interest in paying any more than they legally have to for labor. And my point is that we want to have as many laws in this country, because I told you many times the only union I believe in is the Union of the United States of America, to narrow the exemptions for overtime, as I said, and increase the minimum wage so that more people have a living wage, and that'll get people off the backs of government, because they'll be able to take salary from their company as opposed to being required to go to government for food stamps and other benefits, because they're able, the companies are able to pay them so little. This is where we are, and this is why people now got to get it.
Yep. No, I like what you are saying. As an entrepreneur, and I know you're an entrepreneur. You own your own company. I own my own company. It's nice to know that with Obamacare, there's going to be something that can be done to help some of our employees get some kind of health coverage, because right now, if you work for my company, I'm too small. I don't make millions of dollars where I can have a straight across the board health care. And what I do for some of my employees that have been with me for a while, I just pay them a little bit extra money so they can buy their own health care. which I can continue to do. And now with Obamacare, they're going to have these exchanges so they can pick whatever is best for them. But I like your spin on it. I like the fact that you're saying, hey, this is giving the working stiffs of America more power, so they're no longer going to have to make a job choice or career choice based on just health care. They can get up and if they don't like who they're working for, they can now take their health care with them and not suffer. That to me is a fantastic tool.
And not only that, Bert, it's bigger than that because, like in California with the auto, you're going to have these exchanges, and the insurance companies are going to compete for your dollar. The actuarial analysis is the same. If you're in a certain age group, it's basically the same when you get enough people in it. And so what they're going to do, they're going to compete for your dollar. They're going to want the Invincibles 26 to 40 because they don't get sick. And they're going to fight for that crowd by reducing their premiums. So we're going to see lower premiums over time. And remember, a lot of it is subsidized by the government. And these red states, there's 26 of them that won't let the Obamacare exchanges in. That's because capital's running those states. And this election in 2014, the theme is going to be, let's turn the red states blue. And in the interim, you got to tell your congressmen, you got to tell your senators, you got to say, listen, you got to get out there and stop trying to shut down government because there's 400,000 people out of work for no reason at all except to hold the government hostage. And we're not going to give in to terrorists. And we're not going to give in to this idea. If the capital can get enough people elected, then that's fine. But the minority does not control.
Look, bottom line is, and I think you hit the nail right on the head, our citizens have to rally together and make their representatives, their congresspeople work for them and express to them by email or by letter or by telephone how you feel and get these guys and make these guys more accountable for us. Hey, Norm, we're out of time. I love the fact that you're the way you bring this stuff together. Guys, if you have questions about Norm Blumenthal, if you want to talk about some of the stuff that he does, he's the lawyer that represents working class stiffs all over California. His law firm can be reached at BAMLAWCA.com, BAMLawCA.com. Norm Blumenthal, labor attorney, thank you so much for stopping by and sharing.
All right, Bert. Take care. All the best.
You bet, guys. Guys, we're off. We're done. We will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Tune in Monday through Friday here on Money for Lunch. And check out our website at moneyforlunch.com.